You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network.
The following podcast is under review.
After reviewing the play, the call on the ice stands. We're going to go.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another installment of the Under Review podcast right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network, your May 29th, 2020 edition, your source for North American sports coverage by sports fans, for sports fans, delivered to you right here from the Niagara region. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Armchair GM Pod. Like us on Facebook by searching the Armchair GM's Network. Listen to us right now live on the free Spreaker app or Spreaker.com by searching the Armchair GMs. As well, we're on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, CastBox, and Deezer. So wherever it's most convenient for you to listen to us, we're on many different platforms for you. Please give us a like and subscribe on those platforms if you have them. And as well, check out our brand new website by searching armchairgmsports.com. All of our podcast articles and info on our hosts and our network sponsors are all on that website. So if easy to navigate for you guys to go check that out. As always, I'm one of your hosts of the Under Review podcast, Cappy. You can follow me on Twitter at Capoots13 with a Canadian Z, and I'm always joined on the hockey portion of the Sports Network by my co-host and co-owner of the Armchair GM Sports Network, Kyle. You can follow him on Twitter at JustKyle51. Kyle, the NHL is apparently back.
Yeah, I guess. For now. I can't stress that enough. For now, and if you are one of those out there who are like us, you're sitting there going, oh, well, for now, basically.
For now, yes.
But, oh, man, that intro. I missed that intro of this podcast.
I know. It's been a while since we did an Under Review podcast. I think the last time we did Under Review has been, the specials for the trade deadline shows, free agency, things like that. But we're going to be doing some more Under Review stuff for you guys once the playoffs roll around. Probably doing some playoff predictions and stuff like that. But we still got, it looks like about at least another month and a half away from actual playoff games. But Kyle, what are we thinking about the NHL returning here? Obviously, we're at the end of May here. We had the announcement a few days ago by Commissioner Gary Bettman. You know what? There's been mixed reactions. Is it too soon? Is it not too soon? Is the format the right thing? Is the, playing in front of no fans the right thing to do? There's a lot of, there's a lot of question marks and opinions out there on if the NHL is doing the right thing here.
Like, by all means, I'm all for sports coming back, because it's been a while. It's been a while since we had live sports, and we need some excitement in our lives, but you also got to think about safety. Like, safety is a main thing. Obviously, the NHL player safety is huge as well. For the one thing that's going to sit in the back of my head this whole time that they're going to go through this is all it's going to take is one case. And it's going to spread like wildfire. There's going to be questions asked. Like, we don't know what's going to happen yet. They kind of just told us how the playoff format is going to happen. They kind of haven't really elaborated on player safety and what precautions they're taking. We don't know if they're doing their own test. Are they having some sort of government regulated medical company coming in and doing these tests before every game? Like, they haven't really given us any details on as to what they're doing to prevent from corona from spreading in all of this. That's the one big question I think I have for it. And again, I'm not trying to sit there and say, screw hockey. Like, I don't want it to come back. Hockey's obviously our number one sport here in Canada, and it's our love of our life. It's just like, I want them to do it in a safe manner. Like, I'm worried about the players, and I don't want it to have them do all of this and have it be for nothing due to one case.
And you were even talking to me last night, discussing it. I mean, obviously, the joke's in. My team and my second team are not in the playoff format. But your Toronto Maple Leafs are. And you've even said that if the Leafs end up winning the Cup this year for the first time since 1967, is it even...
You got to tell me that year, eh?
Had to. Since I made fun of my own team, I got to make fun of yours. But if they win it, is it even going to be as meaningful as if they were able to win it in front of fans? If there probably won't even be a parade allowed that's, regulated like when the Raptors won this last year. It's just, is it really going to be the same if your team wins the cup this year?
That's the big thing. That's the ongoing rib that people have with Leaf fans. Like, oh, plan the parade. It's like, we can't do it if we win. That's the thing. If we win the cup, we can't actually plan a parade because we can't all be together. So, like, it's just not going to be like – and they can't just go like, oh, yeah, well, when everything get back to normal, we'll have a parade. By then, it's like it's going to wear off by then. You have to have a parade within the week you win the cup where everyone's going nuts and half the city of Toronto is already burned down. That's when you have to have this parade. So, it's not going to mean as much. And even putting the parade aside, again, it's still not going to mean as much because to me, there's a lot of people out there who have difference of opinions, even NHL players. To me, I think there's going to be an asterisk next to this season. It's not going to be saying the way the season ended. It's a different playoff format. It's completely new. It's a playoff format that they're not going to continue when everything gets back to normal. So, like, again, there's a little bit of an asterisk to it. It's going to be weird. But the only thing good I can say, Brandon, that I think you could look at on the bright side, I guess you can say, is teams have to work that are in that first round, that very first, like, kind of like a buy-in round, have to work harder than the teams that already got a bye to win the Stanley Cup. So you can sit there and say that your team worked the hardest to get that Stanley Cup. So in a way, it could mean a little bit more because you had to go through a different format to win the Stanley Cup, which looks like a little bit harder in a sense, maybe. So
now compare it to when the lockout shortened season happened, and there was the 41 game season, and I believe Chicago won the cup that year, or Pittsburgh. I can't remember. Chicago, Pittsburgh, or LA. They all won multiple cups. I can't remember exactly who won in that year, but regardless, is it like was there really an asterisk beside that year as much as there might be with this year because they played half of a season?
I don't know. It's weird to compare that because that was due to player negotiations and the lockout and all that stuff. This is due to a global pandemic. So that's why, I mean, it feels a little bit different.
And shout out to our buddy Mark, big Flyers fan, unfortunately. But he went to say, what if the scenario happens where it's Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals and somebody scores in overtime to win the Stanley Cup and it's in front of no fans? Like, is just that not going to have the same nostalgia and the same, goosebump feeling that you're going to get if that's your team winning the cup in front of no fans, not even in one of the arenas that one of those teams even play in, as, we'll get into with the format and everything. But it just feels like if your team wins it this year, I'm kind of glad that the Sabres aren't in it because that would be their year to win it in front of no fans. But it's just, I don't know. It's a weird feeling, and like you said, it's going to take one thing for this to just go back to where it was, and then next season gets even more delayed. And you know what? Some part of me, as much as I love hockey, and like you said, we love, breathe, and live for hockey. Some of me thinks that the season should have just been canceled and just looking forward to next season. But I understand why they need to do it for money's sake, for contracts, everything else. It would have been a logistics nightmare, but I don't know if this format is exactly what I would have wanted them to do. It's just, some part of me just says scrap it, plan for next season.
Yeah. Well, two things here. Like, one thing I want to touch back on Mark's part. I don't think it's going to mean as much now because they're only choosing 2 cities to do this. I think it would suck for the city they choose and they're in the playoffs. That would suck, right? Because you're basically playing every game at home. And if you're an away team you're a team that's not been chosen as a hub city, to me it's like, if you win the Stanley Cup, you're winning it on the road anyways. It's not necessarily a home game. So I think it only affects the teams that they choose for their hub city. So like if it's the Leafs, like they won the Stanley Cup finally on home ice, but there's no crowd. That's another reason why I don't want the Leafs to win the Stanley Cup this year, because that'll be another thing. It's like I want to see a Stanley Cup won by my team, the Leafs, in my era with a crowd, because the Toronto fans would just go nutty for that. But if they win it this year with no crowd, it's like what do you do? You're going to see the socially distant people outside the ACC watching. Like, it's just not going to be the same. And it's just you're creating a big mess with this, I think, more than I think they realize, which they're probably going to realize when it happens. And another thing I want to touch on is what oh god, I just had it. Oh yeah, I just had it. Okay, so it's the player safety. Some players are high risk, like in some cases, like Max Domi for one. Guy's got diabetes. Like I don't know if he even feels safe coming back. And when you're talking about contracts, it's like, well, if he doesn't play, then like Montreal is paying all this money for a player that can't play. Like why would they feel comfortable going to a playoff where Max Domi can make a difference, but he can't play due to his safety? You know what I mean? There's so much that goes into this that to me, I'd want to think that they've thought of, but there's a little part of me is saying, like, I don't know if they've thought completely all of this.
The one thing we can talk about is that all but 2 teams were in favor of this format. The Tampa Bay Lightning and the Carolina Hurricanes were the only 2 teams that were opposed to this new NHL Return to Play initiative format. So I thought that was kind of interesting, the fact that Carolina and Tampa Bay were not on board with it, because I think Carolina's gripe with it was, what was the point of us playing and like the whole season? But my thing is that at least they're in the playoffs. I mean, those are 2 teams that are, one of them might get a first round bye, and the other one, has a very good chance at making it pretty far if Carolina, is able to get everybody back healthy. But my thing is, it's 2 playoff teams that are, complaining about it, and I understand that playoff teams that were higher seeds might not exactly have an advantage over the lower seeds like they would in every other year because everybody's been off. Maybe, it looks bad on paper, and we'll get into it. Maybe, a Pittsburgh against Montreal series isn't as lopsided as we think it might be. If the season, was still going on competitively, Pittsburgh probably would wipe the floor with Montreal. But now that nobody's been playing, Montreal might have a chance, as bad as their season has been, for them to sneak into the playoffs. So I understand why those 2 teams would kind of be upset about it, but they're both playoff teams at the same time.
Yeah, that sucks for it too. The teams that are getting that first round bye, they're going to be cold, kind of. Like they're going to have their training camp, obviously, right? But actually, no, they're not going to be cold. That's right. Aren't the people that are moving on, the 4 seeds, aren't they doing like a little mini tournament style warm up?
Yeah, they have to play each other for seeding.
Okay, so they're not completely sitting at home,
no,
watching the other teams go.
But it still might not be as big of an advantage as some people might think, because they've been off for almost 2 months now.
Do they think they're actually going to play with care in those little mini tournaments? Like, do you think players in there caring about what seed they are? They already got a first round bye.
Probably not. They're not going to want to risk the injury.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to go on with that, but in the show today, guys, we're going to go over the format itself, just a quick overview of the playoff matchup. We're not going to do any predictions or anything like that. We'll do a playoff prediction show, probably sometime in July when this thing is actually going to be closer to getting back going again, when training camps are back and everything like that. We'll do a show with that, and then we'll also look at the Stanley Cup odds right now. There are the betting odds for the Stanley Cup playoffs, and then we'll talk a little bit about the draft lottery as well.
Hey!
Yeah, great. Can't wait to hear my thoughts on that. But with that being said, guys, we're going to take our quick first commercial break, and we'll be right back here to discuss the format of the NHL's Return to Play initiative. So we'll be right back here on the Under Review podcast, right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano, serving Italian pizzas made with the freshest, top-quality ingredients. Loaded subs and our famous chicken wings, winners of the 2017 Reader's Choice Awards, and the brand new recipients of the 2019 Reader's Choice Diamond Award from Niagara this week for Best Pizza in Niagara Falls. Open daily, located on the corner of Drummond Road and Dunn Street. Available for call-ahead pickup or delivery. 905-374-4400. Debit and credit accepted for both. You've tried the rest. It's time to try us. Carmine's Pizzeria Italiano. Attention job seekers. If you're currently looking for work in the Niagara region, you owe it to yourself to check out the services provided by the Niagara Employment Help Center, located at 6100 Thoroldstone Road, Niagara Falls. Free services include resource area open to the public, resume and cover letter writing, community resource and referral information, local labor market information, job search strategies, assistance with clarifying employment training and career goals, employment counseling and job search support, second career information and registration assistance, and check out our available workshops under our events calendar on our website for more details at www.ehc.on.ca. the Niagara Employment Help Center. Marcel Dion Inc. Come in and check out our store and meet Marcel Dion himself. We have wall-to-wall NFL, MLB, and NHL licensed products and all kinds of collectibles. We specialize in autographed sports memorabilia. If you don't see what you're looking for, just ask and we'll find it for you. So next time you need a great gift idea for that sports fanatic in your life, or you need to add to your own collection, come visit us first. You won't be disappointed. 905-357-7678, Marcel Dion Inc. Chippin' Charlie's, it's where the locals go. Fun, friendly, and entertaining staff. You're not just a customer, you're family. Lots of TVs, amazing food, and always a great time. Open daily 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. Call 905-371-3428 for inquiries and reservations. Located at 8189 Lundy's Lane, Niagara Falls. Chippin' Charlie's, it's where the locals go. Mid-City Motors Niagara, your premium source for pre-owned vehicles. Financing and leasing for all types of credit. Check them out at 4460 Drummond Road, Niagara Falls, or at mcmniagara.com. They are also happy to announce Mid-City Mechanic is now open. They can repair, maintain, and service all makes and models of vehicles. Conveniently located behind Mid-City Motors at Drummond Road and Perkins Street. They will be happy to help you keep your car on the road. 905-371-2277. That's Mid-City Motors and Mid-City Mechanic. You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network. Alright guys, welcome back to our second segment of today's Under Review podcast. Cappy and Kyle back with you here. And Kyle, let's jump right into the format of what the Return to Play initiative from the NHL and Gary Bettman is going to look like. And before we get into that, can we just talk about Gary Bettman in his house announcing this? Just watching some of these, people of past generations try to use technology. Sometimes it's kind of... It's kind of funny to watch, and again, it's a learning curve for everybody. They're not used to doing this from their basements on Zoom or on webcams or things like that. But for the commissioner of the NHL to be recording from his basement,
he picked like the most awkward corner of his room. There's like, why don't you just pick like a straight wall or something? Because there's like you can see like 3/4 of like a high end chair and like a quarter of a painting, and
I think there's a light fixture.
It's like you couldn't pick a better spot in your house.
He's not used to background setups, okay? He's not a professional podcaster. But, Gary Bettman, I think it was like about a 20-minute announcement, was able to discuss that. And we're going to look at cbcsports.ca for the reference to this next segment here. So with that being said, Kyle, let's look into the format itself. So,
it's an interesting one.
Yeah, so the 24-team playoff format that had been rumored for a while is here. The top 4 clubs in the East and West will play 2 mini round-robin tournaments to determine the seeding. The other 8 teams in each conference would play best-of-5 play-in series, number 5 versus number 12, so on and so on. Bettman says the first and second round playoff matchups could be either best of 5 or best of 7, but the conference finals of Stanley Cup will be best of 7. It will remain to be seen if teams will be put into brackets like the NCAA's March Madness basketball tournament or reseeded after every playoff round. Again, this is from cbcsports.ca. Joshua Clipperton from the Canadian Press is what this article's from. Kyle, what do you think of this 24-team playoff format? Do you think that they got it right? I mean, obviously there wasn't going to be There wasn't going to be a perfect scenario for everybody. There's always going to be critiques on if they got it right or not. But as far we're looking outside of what's going on with the coronavirus, this 24-team playoff format, do you think that they did a good job at getting the right teams and the right amount of teams into the playoffs, as they still were a month away from ending the regular season, and some teams had some sort of chance to still get in the playoffs? I think it would have been unfair for them to just do 16 this year.
Yeah, I think there would have been more flack if they had just done the normal playoff format, and then anyone that was,
on the bubble, just too bad. Like, that would have been, I think, more of an uproar. I think this way you're including the teams that were literally on the bubble, and the teams, unfortunately, that didn't make it. They kind of were,
either mathematically eliminated or very close to mathematically eliminated. So I think the 2014 playoff format works. I like the concept of it. I actually don't mind the whole concept of it. I actually have no problem with it. It's something different, and it's something that people could look forward to, obviously through rough times because of how the format is. Like you get the play-in round, which is something that's never been like. I mean, in a way, it's like a normal playoff format with the top 4 teams in each conference getting a first round bye. It's just this time those top 4 teams are going to play each other to determine seeding. That's basically all it is. And the first round is going to be a best of 5. So it's almost like NBA style, isn't it? Isn't the NBA a best of 5 in their first round?
The MLB is.
Is MLB? It's MLB.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know. It's different. It's new. I kind of like it. We're facing Columbus in the first round, which we've never done. We're seeing some interesting playoff matches as well in the first round. Like I'm looking at the bracket now, like a Carolina New York Rangers is one I want to see, or Chicago and Edmonton I want to see, because those are 2 teams that are very young right now, especially Chicago, who are in the midst of a rebuild. It's going to be interesting to see if they could, build it's playoff experience for those rookies to kind of gain that experience that Chicago has had in the past as being a playoff dominant team. So that's good for them.
Let's just go over the matchups in general.
Yeah.
Let's just start here. So obviously the top 4 teams will be playing each other, so they will have playing each other for the first round bye. In the Eastern Conference, we've got number 5 Pittsburgh versus number 12 Montreal. The Penguins won 2-3 in that matchup. And
yikes!
It's again
not looking good for Montreal. I'm just saying, because Pittsburgh had a very strong end to the season before the outbreak happened, and Montreal wasn't looking so good. So I'm not a fan of Montreal in that series, but we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, again, we'll go through a whole prediction show for the playoffs when it goes, but just naming the matchups here. Carolina number 6 versus number 11 New York Rangers. Like you said, I think that's intriguing, as the Rangers, I think they're a sleeper team. They got some very nice pieces there. They're an up-and-coming team, and Carolina was obviously upset, one of the only 2 teams that that declined the format, but Rangers had won all 4 matchups this year against Carolina, so that should be interesting.
That's probably why they're mad.
The matchup.
Like, yeah, we lost all 4 matches against the Rangers. Now we're pissed.
Number 7 New York Islanders versus number 10 Florida Panthers. Florida Panthers might be getting home ice advantage throughout the entire playoffs.
Yeah, that's an odd matchup there. I don't know how to think about that one.
Yeah, I don't know. But Florida's used to playing in front of no fans, so I guess it'd be no different.
Oh!
Islanders won all 3 matchups in that season series.
Oh, boy.
And then moving on to number 8 versus number 9. The Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, split 2 games apiece.
I'm actually excited. Being a Leaf fan, I'm pumped for that, because I think us and the Blue Jackets can actually have a decent series, and I obviously going to be biased and think Toronto would beat them, but I think the series itself will be pretty good. And then so it's that playoff matchup goes against the number 1 seed. Pittsburgh Montreal goes against the number 4 seed. Islanders Panthers number 2, and then Hurricanes Rangers number 3. But we won't know until that play-in series. So there is the off chance that the Leafs will go through the play-in round, if they do, and face the Bruins in the playoffs once again.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
That'd be fantastic.
It would be great. Columbus, they'd be getting Seth Jones back for the playoffs, so that'd be huge for them. One thing of note with this matchup, would it be called the David Clarkson and Nathan Horton Bowl?
Oh God, I guess, because that whole trade tree is insane. Actually,
Nathan Horton and David Clarkson are technically both on the Leafs books now, so I guess it doesn't really matter anymore. But so yeah, Toronto versus Columbus, that would be an interesting matchup. Columbus is one of the cities. Actually, both these cities are the cities in contention to host. Don't know about Toronto. I don't know if that'd be a good idea. Columbus, I'm not too sure how their numbers have been, but to me, I think they're going to go somewhere south for this matchup. Yeah. And that's something of note to mention as well, is that one host city will be for the Western Conference and one host city will be for the Eastern Conference. So they're going to keep the Western Conference separate and the Eastern Conference separate. I don't know what they're going to do for the Stanley Cup playoffs.
That's what I mean. Do they select a third neutral? Like, do they go in this? They go right down the middle of North America and pick one.
Yeah, I guess it's a wild card round. I don't know.
They're going to go to a state that doesn't have a hockey team.
They're going to spite us and go to Buffalo just to rub it in our faces.
Oh.
Anyways, moving on to the Western Conference here. Number 5, Edmonton versus number 12, Chicago. You had mentioned that's interesting because obviously Chicago's in a rebuild, but it looks like everybody's going to be on an even playing field. McDavid was pretty adamant that he wanted some warm-up games beforehand, so we'll have to see how that works out for them. And it looks like Leon Draisaitl has won the Art Ross Trophy and is probably in contention to win the Hart Trophy, so we'll have to see about that. But with Edmonton's firepower, we'll have to see how that works. Chicago, I don't even know who's going to be in net for them. We'll have to wait and see. Probably, holy man, I don't know.
Get this, what's that guy named? Foster back.
Yeah, or they'll call
Give
up...
Foster a proposed 2014 playoff format run.
They should call up David Ayers. He might be in better shape than everybody else.
David Ayers.
Number 6, Nashville versus number 11, Arizona, I think is interesting. I don't think that's going to be a cakewalk for Nashville. I think Arizona is a sleeper team there with Taylor Hall. We'll have to see what goes on with that. And, Nashville was not playing very well going into the break, so we'll have to see how they come out of that. The season was split 2 games apiece. Number 7, Vancouver against number 10, Minnesota. That's a matchup that doesn't really intrigue me too much. Not really a fan of either team at this point, where they're at in their development. Obviously, Vancouver has some very young, exciting players, and they're going to be, a very good team in a few years. I don't really know if they're going to be they're going to be in contention this year, although Quinn Hughes is in the running for the Calder Trophy. He's had a great first year for the Vancouver Canucks, and obviously Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, Jake Virtanen, and the young core that they've got there. Wild won 2 of the 3 matchups so far this year. And then moving on to the last playoff matchup, number 8, Calgary versus number 9,
this is
Winnipeg.
my favorite one.
I think this is the best series so far in the first round. 2 very, very good teams. The Jets won the only meeting between the 2 in overtime.
Just unfortunate it's 2 Canadian teams facing each other, because that means one Canadian team has to lose.
This looks like a very truculent series, as Brian Burke would love to say.
Very truculent.
Seems like that. And what did you think of Patrick Laine's comments where he came out and said, "I'm going to be terrible"?
I think he's teasing. Like he's just being that guy. He's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to be terrible. He's going to come out and score 3 goals in the first game.
Yeah, or he can be a ghost. We don't know which Patrick Laine we're going to get.
The guy's like the most laid-back guy in the face of the planet. The guy's like the hippie of the NHL.
He's also probably the most hot and cold guy in the entire league.
Yeah, that's true.
After Phil Kessel, but you know about that. What else do you think of this format here, Kyle? Anything else you want to talk about? That the training camps are supposed to start sometime after July 1st.
Well, I'm intrigued about the top 4 teams to do a play-in seeding. I'm very intrigued to see if there's going to be like upsets. Like what if like the Flyers end up with the number 1 seeding, and what if like in the Western, what if Dallas ends up being the number 1 seeding? You know what I mean? Like it's just I'm interested to see who comes out in what seed out of those playing matchups.
Yeah, we didn't go over that, so that's a good point. Boston, Tampa Bay, Washington, and Philly in the East, and St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, and Dallas in the West. So those are the top 4 teams in each conference there that will get the first round bye and will play each other for seeding. Don't really know if, like we had mentioned a little bit earlier, if they're even going to bother trying for those series, or they're just going to.
That's what I mean. Do they care?
I mean, it'll probably be good for warm-up, but at the same time, I don't think they're going to be going all out like they would in a regular playoff series that, since it won't determine them getting knocked out.
I think the only people who are going to care are the management, because they care about who they're going to face up, right? The players are sitting there going, like, it doesn't matter what team we face. We're going to go out there and play. So they're just going to go out there and go, if we become the 4th seed, it is what it is. But what if that's like a strategy for the good teams? What if they want to be like the 4th seed and get the easier matchup? So they just won't try in the play-in.
Or you're Boston and you say you want to finish 4th so you could play Toronto.
Nah, if they play the 1 seed, they have to finish first.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, Boston's going to do whatever they can to try and play Toronto again.
I hope not. Just tank.
But again, the risk of injury will be probably high since these guys have had 2 months off. So I really just don't see those matchups being that entertaining, because they're really not. They're fighting for seeding.
It's gonna be like an all-star game.
They're not fighting for their playoff lives. Like whoever loses, they're not out. They're just moving on to the next round.
You know what? Make it fun. How about they do a 3-on-3 tournament with those top 4 teams? Like, does it really matter?
It doesn't.
Like, do a 3-on-3 all-star game style tournament, so that you're not really risking too much injury. And Let them go out there and have fun. Like, they should go out there and act like it's the All-Star game where they just do goofy plays and like there's barely any trying.
Well, apparently Tampa Bay's gonna do. Who knows what they're gonna do? They're pretty angry about this format, so who knows if they're gonna take it
out there and freaking take it out on the players.
Yeah, they're gonna be Mr. Serious probably, but they're just upset because they should have won last year and got swept by Columbus in the first round.
Let's hope they don't get swept in the play-in.
Or hopefully, if the Leafs end up losing to Columbus, if Tampa Bay had to play Columbus again, oh boy.
No.
But
that'd be hilarious.
So, like I said, the starting of July is when training camps are projected to start, but Bettman said it probably won't be till August when these games get going. So what do you
beginning of September?
So what do you think about like how long is this going to drag on till? Are we going to be playing the Stanley Cup in October, November?
Most likely, and that means the season is either going to have they're only going to have like a month or two break in between. And then it's going to be an abbreviated season. It's going to be a half a season. It's going to be exactly like the lockout year where we come back and played 40 games. Wow. Like next season is going to be affected by this season, and then we won't have a normal season until the 2021-2022 season.
Yeah, perfect for Seattle, I guess. But it's just, I don't know if they said they want to get a full 82-game season in, but I just don't see how logistically it would work if you start in January. The proposal that I saw this morning was they might start the regular season with the Winter Classic on January 1st.
Jesus. What, teams are going to play like 4 games a week? Like, you're just going to overwork the teams?
No bye weeks, no All-Star game week, nothing.
They would literally need to play 4 games a week. Yeah. I haven't done the math properly, but like that's just insane. Yeah,
I can only imagine how packed fantasy hockey is going to be, but that's for another day. Yeah, fantasy hockey's been canceled for everybody that plays fantasy hockey as well. But anything else you want to talk about with the playoff format itself? I think we've basically covered most of it from what we know and what Bettman knows. There's still some gray area with Phase 2 and, when Phase 3 is going to happen. And Phase 4 is apparently the resumption of play. So we're in Phase 1 right now. Apparently they hope to move to Phase 2 at some point, which includes allowing the opening of team facilities and allowing groups of up to 6 players on the ice at once. Early next month, Phase 3 would be training camp. So,
well, I just did the math. If they started the first week of January till the second week of April and played 4 games a week without any breaks, that's only 56 games. So you're telling me you're going to do the regular season up until the end of May?
Who knows? They might even go into June.
So, like, when are we going to have a regular season back? Like, the regular format? Like, that's what I mean.
Like you just said, 2021, 2022.
But even then, if they do the regular season next year up until June, the playoffs will, you know what I mean? There has to be that significant break in between the playoffs and training camp.
Yeah. They don't even know what the format's going to look like. I think they're just taking it day by day at this point.
Nuts.
Montreal's still going to host the draft, by the way. Well, not really.
Online?
Yeah, they're going to host it online. They're going to
go to a studio in Montreal, eh?
Yeah. So apparently they're still the host of the draft, but that's probably going to get pushed back to next year. The Cup has been awarded in every year since 1893, save from the 1919 season because of the Spanish flu outbreak in 2005 with the lockout. So it's a very unprecedented time for the NHL. Yeah. And again, it's not a lockout. It's not. It's a global.
It's basically going to be labeled the COVID Cup. Like.
Yep.
No matter what way, any way you look at it, you looking back at whatever team it was, like your favorite team, say they won this year, you're gonna look back. This was the COVID Cup because it was during the COVID pandemic, and they had to go into this playoff format, which kind of just screwed up everything.
Bettman says there's no magic to starting in October. Our buildings and our markets can handle it. We could start November. We could start in December. We could start at the beginning of January if we had to. That's a quote from Gary Bettman.
That means that the first round will probably be a best of 5. You'd have to probably like the first and second round to be a best of 5.
Screw it. Best of 1, like March Madness tournament.
1 game elimination.
1 game.
Oh, man.
And again, money's also a factor. As Bettman said, resuming the season will cost tens of millions of dollars. not insignificant for a league that still relies heavily on gate receipts, which is obviously fans in attendance, but we'll have to wait and see with that. So again, this was from Joshua Clipperton of the the Canadian Press of CBC.ca. So that being said, guys, we're going to take our next commercial break on the show today, and we'll come back with discussing the Stanley Cup playoff odds that are currently out, as well as looking into the draft lottery format for this year. So we'll be right back here on the Under Review podcast on the Armchair GM Sports Network. The Blue Line Diner is Niagara's leading breakfast restaurant. Great food, great service, and where else can you see one of the NHL's greatest players having coffee and conversation with patrons? Of course, Marcel Dion Inc. is located directly next door, and Marcel is always in and out of the restaurant, talking to the kids and the fans that walk through the doors. Open Tuesday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. 289-296-8785, the Blue Line Diner, located on Montrose Road, Niagara Falls. Simply Fit Health Club, real 24-hour access, 7 days a week. Located at 6595 Drummond Road, Niagara Falls. A clean, modern facility with top-of-the-line equipment, a friendly and non-judgmental environment, free Wi-Fi, ample parking, and more. Come in and tour their facility anytime during their office hours. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, Saturday 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Sunday 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Don't hesitate to stop in. No appointment necessary. They take pride in helping their members reach their health and fitness goals at their convenience and for the best possible price. For only $9.99 bi-weekly, members will get access to the state-of-the-art facility any day, anytime. What are you waiting for? At Simply Fit, there are no excuses, only results. Come see for yourself, 289-296-9535, or info at simplyfithealthclub.com. Simply Fit Health Club. Mick and Angelo's, Niagara Falls' premier sports kitchen and bar. We're all about food, friends, and fun. Catch the game with us and grab a delicious bite to eat while enjoying a cold beer. Bus trips to sporting events, live music performances, and sports pools throughout the year. Open daily 11 a.m. to midnight and 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. Mick and Angelo's, Niagara Falls' premier sports kitchen and bar. Canadian Wrestling Figure Store. Check out their website at cwf.ecwid.com for the best selection in Canada for WWE Elites, Basics, and exclusive action figures. Free Canada-wide shipping on any order over $200. Enter the code ARMCHAIR at checkout so they know that we sent you to receive 10% off your order. Once again, that's Canadian Wrestling Figure Store at cwf.ecwid.com. Attention employers! Finding the right candidate to meet your hiring needs requires more than just posting an advertisement and waiting for a suitable candidate to apply. Let the Niagara Employment Help Center save you valuable time and money by making your hiring process easier. Free job postings, fill job vacancies quickly and efficiently, access to a bank of potential employees, reduce employment costs, all candidates will be pre-screened, job trials and placement incentives, and financial assistance may be applicable to offset the cost of training. Again, that's Niagara Employment Help Center, located at 6100 Thoroldstone Road, Niagara Falls. www.ehc.on.ca. Nestled in the heart of beautiful Ridgeway, Ontario, the Ridge Film House offers up films celebrating diversity, integrity, and pure entertainment. Join us for a quaint movie-going experience complete with an in-house bar, luxury seating, and carefully curated films. Join us for a cinematic experience that focuses on comfort and quality. Our films are carefully selected to fit our specific mandate, screening films that the larger cineplexes won't. Each month, our 10x15 screens show you the best in independent, foreign, classic, and second-run films. The Ridge Film House is also available for private screenings, parties, and festivals. Come and discover hidden gems or rediscover the classics one more time. Located at 320 Ridge Road in Ridgeway, www.ridgefilmhouse.com, or call 289-303-8367 for availability and showtimes. The Ridge Film House, a truly unique movie-going experience. J&L Flooring is a Niagara-based specialty flooring and design company. They take great pride in providing elite customer service and support. They are a specialty flooring and decor boutique shop with a beautiful showroom, great pricing, and a wide variety and truly unique selection of products. All their products are environmentally friendly and responsibly produced, so you can feel great about your flooring choices. Their goal as a local business is to build authentic relationships based on honesty and integrity. that they foster with respect and authenticity. Offering a unique and wide range of quality products presented by a knowledgeable and patient team, they connect with their customers to simplify the process to make their life easier and to make their homes beautiful. Visit them at 4424 Montrose Road, Niagara Falls, or find out more at jnlflooring.com. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. through 5 p.m., and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. 905-358-3299 J&L Flooring. The Spicy Olive Bar and Grill is located on the top of Clifton Hill and just a 5-minute walk from the majestic Niagara Falls. It is conveniently nestled in the heart of the tourist district. A family-owned and operated business, the Spicy Olive opened its doors in 2003 and has since been established as an authentic and unique Italian restaurant and bar. Its rustic ambiance and time-worn finishing provide a warm and inviting dining experience. Offering an array of delicious dishes, they specialize in authentic Italian cuisine, homemade sauces, fresh ingredients, and consistently provide a strong foundation on which they build their menu. As night falls, the Spicy Olive shifts to a lively lounge where dancing, martinis, and live music come together to make a perfect evening. Let Spicy Olive host your next function, birthday, private event, bridal, or baby shower. For more than 15 years, they have served not only their dedicated locals, but customers from all over the world with authentic Italian food and only the best in live entertainment. Located at 5026 Center Street, just off the historic Clifton Hill in Niagara Falls. They're open daily at noon till 10 p.m. and till 2 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. Call 905-371-2323 for reservations and special events. The Spicy Olive Bar and Grill. You're listening to the Armchair GM Sports Network. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Under Review podcast. Cappy and Kyle back with you for our last segment on today's show. And Kyle, let's quickly go over the Stanley Cup projected betting odds from CBSSports.com. So we already have the betting odds from via William Hill of CBSSports.com.
All right.
So here we go with the teams that are projected to win the Stanley Cup more than others here. I don't see the Buffalo Sabres on here. They must have been a late entry. I don't know. But
just missed the cut.
Unfortunately, I won't have to bet on them this year. 100,000 to 1. Anyways,
wow.
So we'll start off from bottom to top here. I was supposed to say Columbus. Chicago Blackhawks and Montreal Canadiens are at 10,000, plus 10,000. The Blue Jackets, Panthers, Islanders, and Wild are at plus 6,000. At plus 5,000, the Hurricanes, Coyotes, Canucks, Jets, and Rangers. So the Rangers actually jump up a little bit. It's kind of interesting. At plus 3,000 is the Calgary Flames. Then at plus 2,500, Toronto, Edmonton, and Nashville. Plus 15 is Dallas and Pittsburgh. Plus 1,200, Philly. Plus 850, Colorado. And moving into the top 5 here, plus 800 for St. Louis and Washington. Plus 650 for Tampa Bay, plus 600 for Vegas, and unfortunately for both of us, as we hate this team, but to remain unbiased here, the favorites to win the Stanley Cup or the President Trophy winning Boston Bruins at plus 550.
Yay.
So here's my thoughts on the Boston Bruins being number one. That one's for you, Josh, when you ever listen to this episode. But,
hopefully he does.
Kyle, what are your instant thoughts on the betting odds projections for the Stanley Cup this year?
It makes sense, Boston being the top one, right? Really, they are the strongest ending the regular season. Vegas is a little bit surprising. I know they had a really strong second half of their season, but above like teams like Washington and Tampa and St. Louis, I probably would have made them a little bit lower. But hey, it's Vegas, right? Colorado, I think, should have been a little bit higher. I think Colorado's a real like dark horse for the Stanley Cup play. I think these guys finally have built the team to go all the way, even make it to the finals. So we'll see how that plays factor. Philly was a surprising one. Well, not really surprising the betting odds, but surprising as in they had a really strong second half of the season. And look, it got them into the top 4 seeding of their conference. So good for them. My leaves at plus 2,500. Usually I would be kind of pissed and be biased and say they should be higher, but I kind of like middle of the pack right now because I don't want them to win.
Yeah.
So I'm good middle of the pack. I'm happy with that. Sucks for the Blackhawks. Plus I would put money on the Blackhawks pick though. They could be a sleeper pick as well in the West, man. They could find like Kane and Taves could find that playoff magic that they're used to. And just kind of just break out and help them carry along. But I know the goalie situation is a little shaky in Chicago, but they could be a dark horse pick. And if I'd put a little bit of money on Chicago, I'm not going to lie.
I mean, with all that playoff experience that they have, probably more than any other team all those years, and rest it up, you never know that it could be the year for Chicago to somehow sneak back in there to the Stanley Cup Finals. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But I agree with you about Colorado. I think they're my pick. Obviously, I love Mikko Rantanen, my favorite player, but watching Nathan McKinnon, what he was able to do with guys like Rantanen and Landeskog out of the lineup, even Kadri the last couple of months here, that's a very scary team if they come back healthy. And with their young D-core and Grubauer in net seems to be a revelation for them. And they've also got Frank Hughes, who's played well for them in net as well. So I think Colorado's a very, very exciting team, and they're only going to get better. Cale Makar has just, what a young player that they've got back there on the DN. There's still more coming with Bowen Byram in years to come. But to me, Colorado, I would definitely put money on them over Vegas. Vegas, I think, still has a lot of question marks for me. I understand that they were one of the four seeds in the Western Conference that are going to have a bye, so I understand why they're up there. But to me, St. Louis, the defending Stanley Cup champions, I don't know how they're ranked at tied for fourth. I think they should probably be where Vegas is. Until they're dethroned, just like your beloved New England Patriots, until they're dethroned, you can't really bet against them. So I think the Blues really should be in that 2 spot behind Boston. Makes sense that the Boston is ahead, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say that. So Josh, you'll love me saying that. But Tampa Bay, I don't know. To me, Tampa Bay might be a little bit lower because, we saw what they did last year against Columbus. But
yeah, I feel like they're a little too high. I think they need to really prove themselves with the team they have in the playoffs, which they really haven't. So I think we kind of need to see what they can actually do in a playoff race to have that high of a betting odd. But I think the betting odd is set that high because they kind of think that they won't have a repeat. Yeah. And they've kind of learned from that. So
and they got Grandpa Kurt in that, to back up Vasilevsky.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Leaf fans should love Grandpa Kurt, man. That guy's an unbelievable backup goalie. I
never said I hated Grandpa Kurt.
All right. If I were to, restructure these betting odds, I would go Boston 1, St. Louis 2, Washington 3, because those are the 2 most recent Stanley Cup winners.
I think Washington has the power to do it again, man. I really think they do.
I think Ovi's on a mission, and he
wants
became a brand new father too. So congrats to him. So
he looks so young. Hang on, did you see that picture of him and his new baby? Him clean shaven.
Yeah, he's a new man.
He looks like 10 years younger.
He probably doesn't want his kid being terrified of him. Because, he wasn't very appealing to look at. Yeah. But, like I just said, Boston. I think I would go Boston 1, St. Louis 2, Washington 3, Colorado 4, Tampa 5, and then Vegas 6, in my opinion. But that's what I would probably go with.
No, you're right.
And, I think Chicago's a nice value pick there. If you really want to go off on a limb there and try to make some serious cash, I would say Chicago is there. And the Rangers a little bit high. Winnipeg, I think, is a little bit low. I think Winnipeg has the capabilities of going far, but I think that has to do with how tough their first-round matchup against Calgary is. So I think just because of Winnipeg and their matchup situation, it's going to be hard for them to get there this year. We'll have to wait and see with that. But, so that's it for the betting odds, guys. We'll have to see how if that even progresses or changes as we get closer to the playoffs and, once the seeding gets going, what the final betting odds would be. But we'll have to wait and see with that. And then moving on here to everybody's favorite, if you're a Buffalo Sabres fan, the thing that we have to look forward to every year is the NHL Draft Lottery.
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of looking at the Draft Lottery, man. I just... It's been 9 years of looking at the Draft Lottery standings instead of the playoff standings, and it just it hurts because Montreal, we were ahead of Montreal for a little bit there in the standings, and we were actually going to play them the day before or the day after that the season got canceled. So to me, I would have loved to see Buffalo in it, but it is what it is. They didn't really deserve it this year, and we'll have to wait and see. They were the first team to miss the playoffs, so that means they have the worst lottery odds of the 7 teams that didn't make the playoffs. So that's fantastic. And I still am a little bit confused and not 100% clear on what the teams 8 through 15 are going to be. Obviously, they have the percentages there. I think it depends on what team loses and where they were projected or where they finished in the regular season standings, I guess. If they were to lose in the first round of the playoffs, they get put back into the position that they would have been in, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's the I think that like the team A to team H is all the losers of the play-in.
Yep.
So,
but then how does that get determined of which team gets the 8th?
I think it's
15th?
the point percentage from that play-in.
Yeah,
I'm almost certain.
Yeah, so like if Toronto lost and Montreal both lost, Montreal would would Toronto have the higher?
If they had a better point percentage than
the
other. I don't know if they're going by season point percentage or the point percentage of what they just played in.
It's still kind of unclear for me. We'll have to wait and see with that. But from the odds and projections that we know already from the teams that didn't make it, Detroit has the best odds at 18.5. Obviously, a very bad year for them. A point percentage of .275. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And then Ottawa, with their own pick, get the 13.5 odds, which is number 2. And unfortunately, the San Jose Sharks, Doug Wilson, made a very big mistake here in trading re-signing Erik Karlsson to that massive, massive contract and having that fall flat on their face, and them having to give up their lottery pick to the Ottawa Senators, who look like geniuses after they had given up their own lottery pick to Colorado a year before. So Ottawa and Pierre Dorion looking like geniuses right now with the number 2 and 3 odds here from their own pick in San Jose. So
man, they have a double chance at Lafreniere. If Lafreniere, if they don't win the lottery, then there's truly you truly have no luck. Ever. Like, you have to win the lottery at that point.
Yeah, and I mean, if they get number 2 and number 3 overall, I mean, that would be interesting if they would offer that up to Detroit for Lafreniere.
Or even if they get Lafreniere, they could Ottawa's potentially get 1 and 2. Like, they get Lafreniere and that other guy. I keep forgetting his name.
Byfield.
Yeah.
And but I think they're going to have 3 separate lotteries. I think they're going to have a lottery for the first pick, the second pick, and the third pick.
Wow.
So, I think that's what Bettman... Again, like, it's... Some of the stuff I still don't really understand as we were just a few days into it. I'm sure we'll get more clarity with it as the weeks and hopefully not months go on. But the draft lottery is projected for June 26th, I believe it is. So we'll have to wait and see with that. So that'll be the first NHL action we get is the draft lottery before the actual games. And then moving on here, number 4, the Los Angeles Kings have a 9.5% chance. That's a team that's looking very nice with their rebuild. They got Alex Turcotte last year, obviously Akil Thomas. They've got a few nice pieces. If they can get another top 3 pick for LA, they definitely got some good young pieces there for their rebuild for a team that obviously has made the playoffs and won Stanley Cups and obviously been in some cap trouble as of late. So definitely getting some nice pieces there in LA for the next phase of Kings hockey.
Yeah.
And then moving on, Anaheim Ducks at 8.5. So all 3 California teams were in the top 5 this year, or bottom 5 this year, which is a very rare occurrence. As that California road trip used to always be, death for some teams playing against 3 very tough teams. Not so much this year. The New Jersey Devils, who won the draft lottery last year, I believe they won it from the 6th position last year.
Yeah, they won it from far back. I think Philly also got into it from a high position as well.
And
which landed them Nolan Patrick a few years back.
Yep. Dallas also moved up in that year too.
Mm-hmm.
New Jersey, I believe it was 6 or 7. I can't exactly remember what position, but they moved up and got Jack Hughes, their franchise cornerstone centerman. We'll have to wait and see how he develops. So they have a 7.5% chance to win. And then in 7th place, the Buffalo Sabres with a 6.5% chance. If the Buffalo Sabres won the lottery this year with the 7th best odds, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably go streaking down Niagara Falls. And
so
probably
last year,
with a mask on, of course.
So last year, New Jersey had the 3rd best odds, and they won the lottery.
3rd?
Colorado had the number 1 best odds with Ottawa's pick, but didn't end up winning the lottery.
No, New Jersey definitely moved up higher than that.
I'm looking right now. Final NHL lottery standings. Colorado was number 1 with 18.5%. Los Angeles number 2, 13.5. New Jersey had 11.5 at number 3. You guys were at number 5 with 8.5.
Okay. So, again, doesn't necessarily mean Detroit's going to get it. We saw some years where it works out and saw some years where it doesn't work out. I've definitely seen some years where it doesn't work out for my team. But, and then, wouldn't it be interesting for one of these teams that made the playoffs and then lost in the first round to end up winning the draft lottery?
The lottery.
But again, like, it's just like every other year, though. I mean, every team that misses the playoffs has a chance at getting in the lottery, and there's obviously more playoff teams than there were any other year, so there's still the same amount of teams that are in the draft lottery as every other year, but it's just the extended playoff format has made it so that more teams have a chance to make the playoffs and then have a fallback with the lottery. What do you think about this format?
It's very confusing. to the casual eye, it's not. I don't think it's doing a good job. Man, I can't. I'm looking at like even like with the play-in teams coming in. I don't know. I know they have to kind of work with it because of obviously life stuff. It's just, it's to me it's gonna be one of those things to kind of like we have to wait and see what happens to really give more of a understanding, because right now it's just like I can't. I mean, it's not going to affect me until I know the Leafs lost.
Yeah, and like the draft lottery is going to happen before these teams even play. So like I don't know how that's going to work. It's just it's going to be very, very, very different for a lot of people just for this format, and I think they don't really even know all the details yet, as we're still trying to figure it out based on point percentage and things like that. But you know, the Red Wings and Senators, who knows? The Senators have two cracks at Lafreniere, so we'll have to wait and see. But regardless, if they get 2 top 5 picks again, Ottawa is definitely on their way to getting, accelerating that rebuild that they started a few years ago. Through all the turmoil that's been going on with that organization, I think they need something positive to come out of that.
Yeah.
But with that being said, Kyle, anything else you want to say before we wrap up the show today?
I'm kind of. I'm on the fence. Like, I'm happy hockey's back, right? Like, this is exciting. We're getting some sort of live sports back, hopefully soon. Then my other side of me sits there and goes, like, I really hope they're safe about this. And I'm kind of not going to get my hopes up because it's going to take one case and one spread to end it all. And it's like, you do all that for nothing. It's really tough to look at it in a positive way. I'm trying my absolute best to do it. So we'll see what happens. But, you know, it's exciting times.
Exciting. It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times, as Mr. Burns' monkey did not write right in that typewriter. But with that being said, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode of the Under Review podcast right here on the Armchair GM Sports Network. Again, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll be back with you here for another episode with probably talking about the draft lottery, how that works out, and as well as talking about we'll probably project all the playoff matchups when that actually arises and the games actually begin. We'll have to wait and see with that. But we are your source of North American sports coverage by sports fans for sports fans, delivered to you right here from the Niagara region. As always, I'm one of your hosts of the Under Review podcast, Cappy. You can follow me on Twitter at Caputs13 with a Canadian Z, as well as my co-host at JustKyle51. Big thank you to all of our great sponsors who help put us on and support the network, keep the show on the air, just despite what's going on with the COVID and, all small business and local business that has been hurting. So we are all here for you. And again, to you viewers out there for tuning in and listening along with us for this episode, be safe out there. Thanks for bearing with us here. Not a lot of sports going on, so we're trying to get you as much content as we can. Big things coming for the network, though, when sports do get revved back up here, so we'll have to wait and see with that. And this has been the Under Review podcast on the Armchair GM Sports Network by sports fans for sports fans. We'll see you next time, and until that time, no goal.